Where can a simple meal lead you? For Margaret Caldwell, it opened a door to a truth buried by time, a secret hidden in a tiny locket. Margaret, a single mother and millionaire in her 60s, is an icon of power and wealth, leading the Caldwell couture fashion empire, with dazzling boutiques spanning continents. But behind the glamorous facade, with her perfectly tailored outfits and confident public smile, lurks a lonely shadow that clings to her. 20 years ago, Sophie, her only daughter, vanished from a sunlit Miami park. That loss left Margaret with unanswered questions, sleepless nights, and a void that never heals. Despite hiring the best detectives, spending millions on global searches, Sophie seemed to have dissolved into thin air. No clues, no trace. Over time, Margaret learned to mask her pain, hiding it behind polite smiles at social galas and stunning fashion collections that captivated the world. But her heart never stopped yearning. Every child's face on the street, every laugh carried by the breeze, recalled Sophie's radiant smile, a memory both warm and agonizing. After years avoiding Miami, the city that stole her greatest joy, Margaret returns. An inexplicable urge, as if her soul remains tethered to this place, draws her back. That afternoon, Margaret shuns the upscale restaurants where she's treated like royalty. She craves something simple, authentic, a place unaware of her fame or power. Driving aimlessly through Miami's bustling streets, she stops at a small diner called Coastal Haven. Its blue neon sign flickers in the sunlight. The glass door is fogged with condensation, and the hum of chatter from inside exudes a humble vitality. Margaret pushes the door open, a small bell jingling like a gentle greeting. She chooses a corner booth where she can observe the room yet stay private. The red vinyl seat, slightly worn under her touch, and the simple paper menu on the table feel unfamiliar but comforting. If Margaret's journey to uncover the truth tugs at your heart, hit that like button, share, and subscribe to 30 Millionaire Stories for more emotional tales of people overcoming darkness to find light. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to leave a comment sharing your thoughts. The diner is unlike any place Margaret has visited in 2 decades. Ocean-themed paintings adorn the walls, and the scent of toasted bread mingles with the aroma of coffee drifting in the air. The patrons, from laughing families to elderly folks quietly sipping tea, create a vibrant, unpretentious scene. Margaret sits, her gaze sweeping across each face, as if searching for a sign, a clue about Sophie, though she knows it's nearly hopeless. Yet something about Coastal Haven Diner feels intimate, as if it holds a piece of the story she's missed for so long. She orders a coffee and an egg sandwich, the simple meal Sophie loved as a child. When the server brings her order, Margaret lightly touches the locket around her neck, a gift from Sophie, given on their last birthday together. The small locket, with its delicate floral design, is her daughter's only remnant, and she's never removed it. She gazes out the window, where sunlight filters through palm trees, and feels a faint connection, as if Sophie, somehow, is still nearby. Coastal Haven Diner, with its simplicity and warmth, seems to whisper that the answers she's sought for 20 years may no longer be far away. A young waitress approaches Margaret's table at Coastal Haven Diner, her slender frame clad in a slightly wrinkled but clean uniform. Barely in her 20s, her smile is genuine but weary, a trace of long shifts etched into her face. "Good afternoon, ma'am," she says, her voice soft, holding a small, worn notebook and a stubby pen. "What can I start you with?" Margaret looks up from the simple paper menu, and for a fleeting moment her heart skips. Something in the girl's gentle brown eyes, a vague familiarity, like a memory shrouded by time, waiting to be stirred. Margaret keeps her voice steady, masking the turmoil within. "Just coffee, thank you," she replies, her eyes quietly studying the girl. The waitress nods, a brief smile flickering, then turns away, her steps light between the tables. Margaret watches, unable to look away. The girl moves with grace, balancing a tray of plates without faltering, chatting warmly with patrons, an elderly couple, a family with young children. Her demeanor is kind, but beneath it lies a quiet strength, the resilience of someone accustomed to hardship. Margaret recognizes it, for she too has hidden pain behind a polished exterior. When the waitress returns, bringing a steaming cup of coffee, the diner's fluorescent light catches a small gold locket around her neck. It's delicate, with intricate floral patterns glinting under the glow. Margaret's breath catches, as if the air in the diner has thickened. That locket, she knows it instantly, like a blade slicing through 20 years of memory. Margaret grips the table's edge, striving to keep her voice calm. "That's a beautiful locket," she says, her tone softer, as if starting a casual chat. The waitress touches the locket instinctively, her fingers brushing the gold surface, and smiles, a smile tinged with sadness. "Thank you," she replies, her voice warm. "It's very special to me." Margaret leans forward, her heart racing, her pulse thrumming in the silence. She draws a breath, choosing each word with care. "If you don't mind, where did you get it?" she asks, her eyes locked on the girl, searching for a sign, any sign. The waitress smiles, but the smile now carries a deeper sorrow, as if the question has grazed a hazy memory. "My mother gave it to me when I was little," she says, her voice quieter. "I grew up in foster care, so I don't remember much about her, but this is the only thing I've kept." The words foster care echo in Margaret's mind like a bell, sharp and impossible to ignore. Her thoughts spiral, fragments from 20 years ago, the Miami park, Sophie's disappearance, the futile searches, struggling to align. Could it be? She studies the girl, searching for familiar features in her face. Those brown eyes, that faint, wistful smile, and the locket, the gift she gave Sophie on their last birthday together. Margaret's chest tightens, as if her heart is gripped by hope and fear at once. The girl stands there, unaware of the turmoil in the woman before her, her gaze drifting across the diner, as if ready to return to work. Coastal Haven. Diner hums with its rhythm, the clink of cutlery on plates, children's laughter, the scent of coffee lingering in the air. But for Margaret, everything blurs, leaving only the waitress and the glinting gold locket. She clutches her coffee cup, the warmth of the porcelain seeping into her hands, but it can't dispel the chill creeping within. The girl smiles again, a polite smile, then turns away, serving another table. Margaret watches, her eyes fixed on her, as if afraid a blink might make the girl vanish, like Sophie once did. Her mind is a storm, but a tiny, fragile spark of hope begins to flicker. Could this be the answer she's sought for 20 years? As the young waitress leaves Margaret's table to serve another group, Margaret feels her hands tremble, as if an electric current courses through her. She opens her small leather purse, her fingers gliding through familiar compartments until they touch a precious item, a faded photograph, its edges worn from time and countless touches. It's a picture of her and Sophie, taken on Sophie's 5th birthday. Sophie, with golden hair shimmering like sunlight, her radiant smile embracing the world, holds a gold locket, the same locket the waitress wears around her neck. Margaret's heart pounds, its rhythm thundering, threatening to burst from her chest. Could this be mere coincidence? Or is fate, After 20 years of anguish, returning what she lost in that Miami park. Margaret clutches the photo, her eyes fixed on the waitress moving between tables, her polite smile and warm voice filling Coastal Haven Diner. Each gesture, the tilt of her head, the way she tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, stirs a faint memory, like pieces of a puzzle Margaret has tried to assemble for 2 decades. She takes a deep breath, striving for calm, but the urge within is too powerful, uncontainable. When the waitress returns with the bill, placing it gently on the table, Margaret can't wait any longer. "I know this is strange," she says, her voice soft but urgent. "But could you sit for a moment?" The girl hesitates, her eyes scanning the bustling diner, where other tables hum with activity. She bites her lip, weighing duty against curiosity, but finally nods. She slides into the seat across from Margaret, the red vinyl chair creaking faintly. "Is everything okay, ma'am?" she asks, her tone gentle, hands clasped on the table, maintaining her professional smile. Margaret doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she slides the photo across the wooden table, her trembling fingers causing it to shift slightly. "Do you recognize this?" she asks, her eyes locked on the girl, as if the world narrows to this single moment. The waitress leans forward, picking up the photo, her brows furrowing in focus. Her fingers trace the image, pausing on the gold locket the girl in the picture holds, the same locket she wears. She looks up, her eyes meeting Margaret's, a flicker of confusion sparking in her soft brown gaze. She touches the locket around her neck, as if needing to confirm it's still there. "This girl," she whispers, her voice trailing off, as if speaking to herself. "She looks like me when I was little." Those words, though soft, pierce Margaret's heart like a blade, both painful and hopeful. She holds her breath, the diner's air thickening around her. Her voice trembles, nearly breaking, as she says, "That's because you are that girl. You're Sophie, my daughter." The world around them seems to freeze. The clink of cutlery on plates, the laughter of diners, even the faint scent of coffee in the air, all fade, as if only Margaret and the girl before her remain. The waitress's eyes widen, a mix of confusion and doubt flickering within. She glances at the photo, then at Margaret, as if trying to piece together fragmented memories. The locket around her neck glints under the fluorescent light, a vivid proof, a thread linking past to present. Margaret grips the table's edge, struggling to contain the tidal wave of emotions surging inside. She longs to reach out, to touch the girl, to pull her into an embrace. But she's afraid. Afraid this is just a dream, that the girl will vanish, as Sophie did 20 years ago. The waitress still holds the photo, her fingers trembling slightly, as if it carries a weight she's not ready to bear. Her gaze shifts between Margaret and the child in the picture, as if seeking an answer for herself. Coastal Haven Diner hums on, its patrons unaware of the moment unfolding in the corner. But for Margaret, time stands still, and all she can do is wait, hope, and pray that fate, after all these years, has brought Sophie back to her. Anna, the waitress, stands frozen, her small hand covering her mouth, her breath catching as if the air in Coastal Haven Diner has grown too thick. Her brown eyes widen, swirling with confusion and doubt. "No, it can't be," she whispers, her voice trembling. "My name is Anna. I don't have a family." Margaret, seated across in the corner booth, reaches out, her fingers shaking as if touching a fragile dream. Her eyes brim with hope, yet ache with pain, as if 20 years of searching converge in this moment. "Anna was my nickname for you," she says, her voice hoarse with emotion. "I never abandoned you. You were taken from me, and I've searched for you for 20 years. Anna leans down, her gaze fixed on the faded photo Margaret slid across the table. It shows a golden-haired girl, beaming, holding a gold locket identical to the one around her neck. She looks up at Margaret, then back at the photo, her mind spinning like a whirlwind. My foster mother, she said my parents didn't want me, Anna says, her voice fading, as if piecing together scattered memories into a coherent story. Margaret shakes her head fiercely, her silver hair swaying, her tear-filled eyes resolute. I never gave you up, she says, her voice firm like a vow. I hired detectives, offered millions in rewards, traveled everywhere to find you, but you vanished. And now I've found you, right here, in this diner. Tears stream down Anna's cheeks, leaving glistening trails under the diner's fluorescent lights. She clutches the locket, her fingers gripping it as if it's the only thread tying her to the past. I don't know what to believe, she whispers, her voice breaking, raw with turmoil. Margaret slides out of the red vinyl booth, standing, her arms open wide, ready to embrace the pain they've both endured. You don't need to say anything, she says, her voice trembling but warm. Just let me hold you, my Sophie. Anna stands motionless, her eyes flickering between the photo and the woman before her. She bites her lip, hesitating, as if afraid a step forward might make it all dissolve. Then, as if drawn by an unseen force, she falls into Margaret's arms, whispering a single word, small but heavy with 20 years of separation. Mom? Margaret sobs, tears streaming, soaking Anna's shoulder. She holds her daughter tightly, clutching her as if afraid that letting go might make her vanish again. Yes, my love, she says, her voice choked. I'm here, and I won't lose you again. Her arms tremble, but they don't loosen, as if trying to make up for the lost years. Anna, still bewildered, rests her head on Margaret's shoulder, her breathing steadying, as if those arms are where she belongs, even if she doesn't fully understand why. Coastal Haven Diner seems to hold its breath, the clink of cutlery on plates, the hum of diners' chatter, even the coffee machine's faint buzz, all fade, as if the entire diner witnesses a miracle. Nearby, patrons fall silent, their eyes turning to the corner booth, where two women embrace. An elderly man wipes his eyes, a family nearby stops joking, and the staff, usually in constant motion, stand still, trays in hand, their gazes filled with emotion. No one speaks, but the air carries a profound weight, as if everyone senses the magnitude of this moment. Two hearts, torn apart by time and circumstance, finding each other in a small Miami diner. Margaret keeps holding Anna, or Sophie, heedless of the surrounding stares. She feels her daughter's warmth, her breathing, and for the first time in 20 years, her heart isn't weighed down by loss. Anna, though not fully convinced, lets herself sink into the embrace, as if seeking a piece of herself. The gold locket glints between them, a thread linking past and present, proof that fate, though cruel, has brought them back together. The diner, with its scent of coffee and toasted bread, becomes a witness to a reunion no one in this room will forget. Anna, or Sophie, as Margaret calls her, stands frozen in the booth at Coastal Haven Diner, the old photo trembling in her hands. The worn edges of the picture seem to carry the weight of 20 years apart. She wants to believe Margaret, wants to trust that the woman before her, with eyes full of pain and hope, is her mother. But years in foster care have taught her not to hope too much. Trust, for Anna, is fragile, and she's learned to shield her heart from disappointment. Margaret wipes tears from her cheeks, her gaze tender, her voice warm like a lullaby. "I know it's hard to believe, my love," she says, "but I promise, it's true. I've dreamed of you every day, of your smile, your voice, and the way you used to run through our garden." Anna looks at Margaret, her brown eyes shimmering with emotion, like a deep ocean stirring. She bites her lip, struggling to find words for the feelings surging within. "I grew up thinking I was abandoned," she says, her voice hoarse, as if each word carries the memory of lonely days. "I started working at 16, surviving cold foster homes, where no one cared. I told myself not to want a family, because it only hurt more." Margaret listens, her heart wrenching with each word. She reaches for her daughter's hand, squeezing gently, as if pouring 20 years of love into that touch. "I didn't know what you endured," she says, her voice breaking. "If I'd found you sooner, if I could have protected you." Anna lowers her head, her gaze lost in the photo, where a 5-year-old beams beside her mother. She begins to speak, hesitantly, about faint memories that have followed her through the years. "I remember a garden," she says, "the scent of roses in the breeze, a warm house with big windows. I'm not sure if it was real or just a dream." Margaret holds her breath, her eyes lighting up, as if the final pieces are falling into place. "That was our home," she whispers, her voice trembling with emotion. "I kept that garden, Sophie, with the roses you loved. I kept it, hoping one day you'd return." Anna touches the gold locket around her neck, her fingers tracing its delicate floral design, her voice quivering. "Why now?" she asks, her eyes searching Margaret's. "Why did we find each other after all this time?" Margaret smiles, a sad but loving smile. "Because of this," she says, touching her own locket, identical to Anna's. "It led me to you." Anna hesitates, then asks about her father, her voice softening, as if fearing the answer might hurt. Margaret's face darkens, her gaze drifting to the photo, as if peering into a painful past. "He passed away a few years after we lost you," she says, her voice lowering. "He blamed himself. Couldn't bear the pain of losing you. He searched for you, like I did. But the grief was too much." Anna bows her head, her hands clutching the photo, as if trying to hold on to a man she never knew. "I wish I'd met him," she whispers, her voice heavy with regret. Margaret rises, sliding out of the red vinyl booth, and embraces Anna, her tears falling onto her daughter's shoulder. "He would have loved you," she says, her voice choked. "You were his whole world, like you are mine. He's always here, in our hearts." That moment, in the small booth of Coastal Haven Diner, seems to stretch endlessly. Anna leans into her mother, her breathing mingling with Margaret's quiet sobs. The gold locket glints under the fluorescent lights, an invisible thread binding two hearts once torn apart. The diner retains its warm atmosphere with the scent of coffee and toasted bread, but it has become a witness to an unexpected reunion. Margaret holds Anna tightly, feeling her daughter's warmth, and for the first time in 20 years, her heart feels whole. Anna, though still uncertain, lets herself sink into the embrace, as if finding a piece of herself she didn't know was lost. The two women, separated by time and fate, stand there, seizing the chance to heal and begin anew. Margaret gently persuades Anna to leave Coastal Haven Diner, guiding her to the sprawling mansion in Miami's outskirts. The house dazzles, its white walls gleaming under the sun. A fragrant rose garden and a fountain singing like a soft melody. But Anna, still reeling from their sudden reunion, feels out of place amid the opulence. She walks slowly along the stone path, her eyes grazing the flower beds and large windows. "It's beautiful," she says, her voice small. "But it doesn't feel like mine yet." Margaret rests a hand on her shoulder, gentle but firm, as if anchoring her with safety. "One day, it will be your home," she says, her eyes brimming with hope. In the weeks that follow, Margaret and Anna begin rebuilding a bond stolen by time. They sit together in the cozy living room, warm golden light spilling over old photo albums Margaret has kept for 20 years. Margaret turns each page, recounting the bright yellow dress Sophie adored, the lullabies she sang to lull her to sleep. Anna listens, her eyes sparkling as faint childhood memories resurface. "I remember you brushing my hair," she whispers, her voice trembling, as if tugging a thread from the past. Margaret's eyes well up, her hand gently touching Anna's hair. "I'll do it again, if you'd like," she says, her voice choked, overflowing with love. But their journey isn't always smooth. Anna, who's lived a fiercely independent life, struggles with the wealth and opulence of Margaret's world. She's unaccustomed to being cared for, served, or living in a home where everything seems too perfect. One afternoon, in the garden, Anna lowers her head, her voice tinged with unease. "I'm not used to being taken care of," she admits, her fingers tightly clasped. "I've done everything on my own for so long." Margaret takes her hand, squeezing gently, her gaze steady but tender. "You're not alone anymore," she says. "I'm here, and I'll always be here." Those words, simple yet heartfelt, ease some of Anna's fears, like a promise breaking through her doubts. One day, as sunset bathes the garden in a golden glow, Anna and Margaret stand by the fountain, its trickling water blending with birdsong. Anna looks at her mother, her eyes holding a question long simmering. "Why didn't you give up on me?" she asks, her voice soft but brimming with emotion. "After all those years, after everything you went through?" Margaret smiles, tears glistening on her cheeks. "Because my love for you never stopped," she replies, her voice trembling. "I knew you were out there, and no matter how long it took, I'd find you. I won't let you go now." Anna stands there, her gaze softening, and she steps forward, embracing her mother tightly. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice choked, "for not giving up." Margaret holds her, kissing her forehead gently, feeling the warmth of Sophie or Anna in her arms. "You're my miracle," she says, her voice full of love. "I'll spend my life showing you how much I love you." Under the sunset, the two women stand, their hearts healing day by day, building a future filled with love, hope, and an unbreakable bond. The garden, with its roses and flowing water, bears witness to their reunion's journey. Margaret and Anna, though still learning to understand each other, have found a new beginning. They didn't just find each other in a small Miami diner. They found a family, something both thought impossible. The sunset fades, leaving a starlit sky, a reminder that no matter how harsh time may be, true love will always find its way back. Leave a comment. If you believe a small object can unlock love buried by time, hit like, subscribe to 30 Millionaire Stories, and share a reunion story that moved you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.